Hello, Professor Bart Schultz.
Okay,
Pleasure meeting you.
thank you.
I am really keen to know, it's been almost 5 decades since when you've been contributing to the water sector, to the land resources. So, what inspired you to join this sector? Also, I understand that you've been providing advisory to more than 35 countries when it comes to the irrigation and water resources department. So, what are your key learnings from these different countries about the sector and the key challenges in the sector?
Yeah, I studied civil engineering with specialism hydrology. And then when I graduated, I got a job in what is called IJsselmeerpolders Development Authority. That was a reclamation, an agency in charge of the reclamation of 165,000 hectare former sea bottom in the Netherlands, in the middle of the Netherlands. And I became involved in the water management section or division. And my first task was to deal with the water management aspects of the city of Almere. There was nobody there by that time. It was completely new. There was only a landfill to start with the urban development activities. And my task was to advise on or to make proposals and to do research on the water management of the new town. And there were two aspects. The first was the development of the open water system for the city, the urban drainage system. And it was to look at the impact of the development of the city on the surrounding land, the old land, because this was the new land, but the new land was 4 meters below mean sea level. And the old land was above, and they were afraid for groundwater drawdown. So we did all the hydrological studies and we advised on the development of the city. And later on I became head of the water management division. And I was involved in the development of the polder Southern Flevoland, it was called, which is almost 50,000 hectare. And we had to reclaim that land from former sea bottom. And the reclamation took 5 years for each area, because we had to bring the groundwater table that was in the surface, to bring it down to about 1 meter in the surface. And that were about 5 steps in the water management, with all kinds of other things. So I was working in the water management. And then in 1984, so I started in 1973, in 1984, they asked me to become the Netherlands representative of the ICID. And I had never been to ICID, so they just asked me to become the Netherlands representative for ICID. We had the Netherlands ICID committee. And my first meeting was in Fort Collins in USA. That was by that time the ICID meeting. And I came to Fort Collins in USA, and they said, you are from the Netherlands, so cannot you become chairman of the drainage working group? So in 1 year, I was the Netherlands representative and the chairman of the drainage working group.
Lovely.
And for me, the ICID was fascinating, because I learned how my colleagues were handling the things in their country. So that really fascinated me. So I've been many years chairman of the drainage working group. And then when the reclamation activities were more or less over, that was in around 94, I had to find another job, because that was ready. And I became in the civil engineering department of Rijkswaterstaat, which is in charge of the large hydraulic projects in the Netherlands and the large infrastructure, because I was, of course, with the water group. And already by that time, because I was government official, and I was asked more and more to formulate new projects, especially for development corporation, or to evaluate existing projects, because I never would do the project as a government official. So I was for many years, about 3 months abroad for short missions to formulate or evaluate projects. And then I learned that you should not tell the others what to do, but you should learn what is going on in the country and how it could be solved. So I have not given so much advice, I have been listening mainly. And then, of course, the trick is, what is going on here? And what is the real problem? So I often ask the same question to 5 different people. And then if you do the same question to 5, you get 5 different answers. And then you have to analyze what is really going on here. Because if the concept of a project is wrong, you can do what you want, it will not work. And I learned in those, especially by those short missions, that when people in the area are committed, it will go. When they are not committed, you can make all kinds of nice feasibility studies and nice stories and encouraging people. It will not work. So the key issue is, will the local people accept your project? That's the key issue. So I've not been telling so much I've taught students, because students, but for example, when I teach my students, I have been because when I was working more and more, they asked me one day in the week to become a part-time professor in the Institute for International Education. I was in Delft. You have IHE, it's still there.
UNESCO, IHE
UNESCO,
Delft.
I was working for UNESCO IHE. And I have had in total about 400 MSc people and 25 PhD. And from all different countries. And the big advantage for me was I never had a problem to get data because they worked in the projects.
Yes.
It's often difficult to get data, but not when your students work in the project. So, and they did always their MSc thesis on the project. So I learned a lot what was going on in these countries.
And in a way, even the students got right kind of direction because they already had multiple projects going on. So they...
Yeah. Now, but so it was all linked to the project.
Yes.
And the most interesting, I did the teaching with pleasure, but we also did a group work.
Okay.
And then we put 10 to 15 people together to develop an area, just an imaginative area. And we just told them, look, you have to develop that area and you organize yourself. And then the interesting thing is that the different students, they were from different countries, they learned to cooperate with each other.
And they did create?
Generally, very well.
Oh, wonderful.
In the beginning, of course, it was really surging, but then you see one is a leader type of person, the other one is a supporting type of person.
Yes.
And of course, the key issue is, can they manage the thing? Now, that is on the student side. On the project side, if you go to a director of an agency, he will never tell you the problem, which I understand. But if you like to know how an irrigation or a drainage scheme is, let me restrict to the irrigation scheme, then you should go to the water master, the one who is diverting the water over the area, because he is in the big risk. If he doesn't do his job properly, or she, it's mainly a he, but you have also she's, then he is in trouble. So, of course, we always had the courtesy course with the director, the courtesy call with the director, and of course we should report to the director and discuss it with the director. But I always went into the field to speak with the people who were in the critical points of the system, and spoke with the farmers. And of course you need this interpreter and so on. But I have never advised without being in the field. Because you need the scale, to see the scale, what is going on in the area, how people talk with each other. You already feel there is tension or is good.
Yes, that's true.
And then, of course, the trick is to analyze what is a good concept for improvement. Now, if the concept, but then I repeat myself, if the concept is okay, it's success. And whatever feasibility study you have done, it goes better. When the concept is not good, you can forget it.
Right.
That's my simple message.
And also, if that's the need in that particular area, then definitely people will be interested to implement that concept.
Yeah, but sometimes projects are imposed.
Yeah.
And that will not work.
That won't work. Right.
It will not work.
So you are here for World Irrigation Forum 4th.
Yeah.
What is your take on the event which has been organized in Malaysia? And what are the kind of synergies you feel should be developed or should be created out of this entire event?
Yeah, look, I attended, by the way, also the 3 previous ones.
Okay.
And this is very good one. The initiative was taken, it is now, 12 years? No, yeah, this is the 4th, so 16 years ago. Huh? And ICID had congresses and council meetings and regional meetings, but they are all technical, let me say. And there is a lot of social aspects and environmental aspects, but we speak among each other. The forum is much broader. Other type of people come in, and that you also see here. And I think that is a very good step. Personally, I'm from Europe, from Netherlands. I am always fascinated by the rapid development in Asia. So Europe is, of course, the developed countries. Asia is more the emerging country, except for Japan and Korea. But these countries are developing so fast. I was 12 years ago in Kuala Lumpur. It's more or less double. It's not exactly double, of course, but there is so much development.
Yes.
And so much urbanization.
Right.
And I should tell you, urbanization is frightening me. I still collect data on the lowland areas in the world. I do it as a volunteer now. And what we are doing in this world is we build 80 to 90% of the urbanization in the flood-prone countries.
Yes.
And we don't protect the people properly. So in my country, we have learned from our mistakes in the past. We have had a lot of flooding. We have a very high level of safety for flood protection. In almost all other countries, the level of flood protection is only 1 in 100 years, which is good risk of failure, which is good for a rural area because there are not so many people. They can go to the better places and they will know. What can you do in the urban? And what I see now is they built the new urban area because our ancestors were not stupid. They are on the better places. But all the urban expansions are in the flood-prone areas, and I'm more for the flood-prone side than from the irrigation side. We don't take sufficient provision for protection. And then it goes wrong. And immediately what is the story? It is climate change. Climate change is 10% of the problem. 90% is that we should develop areas in a better way. If we house people there should be also good urban drainage and flood protection. Now that is what you can learn if you go to these conferences, among others.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice. So now maybe a message for the water industry. You've been in the sector for almost 5 decades now. So what do you have to say? One message, if I ask you, for people who are aspiring to join water industry as professionals.
No, I always told my students, never bother about your job. You always get a job because there is always more problem. Look, there is water shortage on the one side. There is too much water on the other side. And there is always more work.
So we need to manage these resources properly, and that needs
and that is the
good
key
skill.
issue. And also here, it started with, is irrigation a sunset industry? There's nobody who is telling you here that irrigation is a sunset industry. They're all saying it's a sunrise industry.
Yes.
And that is, of course, especially for the younger generation. There is so much development in IT, in information technology, in remote sensing, in artificial intelligence.
Yes.
We even have new. I work still for the journal, ICID journal. The publisher who is publishing our journal, he selects the reviewers by AI, by artificial intelligence, and of course we finally make the selection how we like to have. But we get a list from them with reviewers based on the AI. Now these are all kind of technologies that you can use, but you have to apply them in the right way. Where I live 4 meters below mean sea level in the polder area. We have our agency that takes care of the water management in the polder. They have a system of control of the water that they mainly pump when the electricity is at low cost. We have night fare and day fare. Day fare is more than night fare. So most of the water in drainage you can pump when it is cheap.
Nighttime.
Now these developments, they save a lot of, and of course, you have to pump in the right time and the right way.
That's right.
And there are so many developments, and of course here I hear a lot of new developments, even if at my old age. There are so many new developments.
Every day there are new technologies coming, and it's very important to integrate those technologies and at the same time upscale the same for
upscale,
better.
But also don't forget the history.
Yeah,
because
true.
you don't start from scratch.
That's true. That's true.
You don't start
Nobody
from scratch.
need to reinvent the wheel.
now it's not only reinventing the wheel, but it is also the way of thinking in a country.
Yeah.
We in the Netherlands, we always go directly for solving the problem, but in many other countries, they consider it. They are more fatalistic, let me say, and they don't have that fanatism that we have to directly start to try to solve. And we have a negotiation type of society, and we have not a up-to-down controlled society.
Correct.
And societies are very different all over the world. So
Correct.
the message that are being taken have to fit in the history of the society.
Right. Wonderful. Great talking to you, Professor
Thank you.
Bart.
Thank you.
And
My pleasure.
thank you. Pleasure meeting
I
you.
hope it's useful for you.
No, it was wonderful. Thank you so much. Can you click a picture?
Okay. Oh,